kind of, I mean, not, just a second.
Okay, Chakrika, tell me one thing. Like tomorrow you are having test from that chapter. How about in the extra class we discuss that chapter? You can ask the questions. You can solve your doubts. Yes.
So actually, I think it's, yeah, I mean, yeah, the test changed, sir. I think that it's right now, it's colon petroleum.
Okay, it's coal and petroleum. Okay, okay then.
So,
Okay, then whenever you guys will be available, then we'll be having a test. Okay, now. Yes, Chakrika, Gauri, you guys have to say something.
No, sir.
no, sir.
Okay, then so let's continue. So, which of the following is a disease caused by a protozoa? We have discussed this question in the previous class. What is the answer for this one? Which disease is caused by a protozoa?
Malaria.
Malaria. Very good. Okay, what is the carrier of this disease? What is the name of the carrier? Yes. Anyone?
It's like what cause like
No, no. What is the carrier? I'm not asking about the name of the protozoa. I'm asking about the carrier. Like you had the example of housefly, which is a carrier of disease.
female mosquitoes.
Particularly, the name is female anopheles. Okay, female anopheles, and they suck on the blood because they have to lay eggs. Right now, so female mosquitoes lays egg, and in order to lay egg, they require lots of energy and nutrition. So they get it from blood. Okay, which of them is caused by a bacteria? Out of chicken pox, tuberculosis, dengue, and polio, which is caused by tuberculosis. Very good. And what is the name of the bacteria that is responsible for causing this? Anyone? I have told this in the class. If you guys can recall, it's that is Salmonella typhi. Okay, now make sure that you keep this in mind. Anyways, later on, we will be summarizing the beneficial uses of
But
the.
isn't salmonella typhoid is caused by typhoid, right?
Oh, sorry. Salmonella typhi is caused by exactly, Sundus. That causes typhoid actually. Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, it's a different one. It's a different one. Tuberculosis is caused by this one. I believe even I'm unable to recall the name.
Well, something like that. It starts with lacto.
Yes, it starts with lacto.
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Do one thing. I will be telling about it in a minute. Okay, now we'll have to recall this one. By the way, other ones are not caused by virus. Getting it? Like chicken pox, dengue, and polio. These are caused by virus. So keep that thing in mind as well. These are the questions which we will be doing later on. In the previous class, by the way, we have discussed talking about viruses. If I were to talk about virus, bacteria, and a protozoa of fungi, which one is smallest of them?
So
Which
can
one
you
of them?
Virus.
I was asking about, yeah, the answer is correct. I was asking about which one of them is smallest in size. So that is virus. Okay, correct. Okay, now let's say I have removed virus now. Then which one of them will be smallest?
Bacteria.
Bacteria. Very good. Getting it, no? Okay. Which one of them is a plant-like organism? Yes. Which one of them is a plant-like organism?
Fungi.
Fungi, no. I haven't written its name over here. It's this one. Algae. Which one of them is an animal-like organism? Which one is an animal-like organism? Like we did talked about protozoans. Right now, particularly protozoans are said to be animal-like organisms. And then yeah, this one now, which we were talking about moments ago, this tuberculosis, it is actually caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Okay, now. Mycobacterium tuberculosis. This is the bacteria that causes it, and usually it attacks the lungs, right now. But it can attack any other part of the body also, like it can attack your kidneys also, your brains also, brain of the person also, but usually that affects the lungs. Now let's understand, where do the microbes lives in our body? Where do microorganisms lives inside our body? Like it lives in the polluted environment also. So let's understand that where uh, are they found to be living. So they can be found living almost in every environment. Like they can be found living in water, in the soil, in the air. So these are the they can be found living in water, in soil and air, in almost every places they can be found to be living. So say that you have taken a sample of water, and let's say this is a dirty water. So you'll find that millions of bacteria or other microorganisms would be found to be living in this water. So they can be pretty much found everywhere, even in the inside the body also it can be found. It can be found in the frozen polar ice caps also. It can be found in the deep oceans also. It is found in the soil also. It is found in the gut of human body also, like it is found in the stomach, in the large intestine and small intestine. Yes, Chakrika.
Sir, actually, I wanted to ask if it's possible for you to take a class from
Hmm.
6 to 7.
From when?
6 to 7, sir, today.
Today,
Yes, sir.
6 to 7, as per the Saudi time.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Do one thing. I will be consulting the team regarding that, whether they can schedule a class at that time. Okay,
Okay,
no?
sir. Or maybe for 30 minutes is also fine, sir.
Okay, okay, got it.
Okay, sir.
For which chapter, by the way, Chakrika?
So for coal and petroleum.
Coal and petroleum. Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
I will consult the team regarding that. By the way, I believe it will be possible. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
No issues. So you see that microorganisms are found living inside the human body also. Right now, for example, although as I have told earlier also, like in the human body, there would be millions of different type of microorganisms that would be found to be living right now, and some of them are good, some of them are bad for us. Some of them are good, some of them are bad for us. Right now, like we know that in our body, almost there are 30 or 32 trillion cells are found in our body. But talking about how many number of microbial organisms are found in our body, you would be amazed to know this. Just take a rough estimate. What I have said that 30 to 32 trillion cells are found inside our body. Okay, now keep that thing in mind. Another thing I'm telling you, that they are around 39 to 40 trillion microbial cells found inside the human body, meaning that 39 to 40 trillion microbial cells are found to be living inside our body. Hope you are getting it right now. Then what type of microorganisms can be found to be living in our body? Especially you have bacteria, you have viruses, and there can be funguses also. In some cases, protozoa are also found to be living inside the human body, particularly in the intestines. So hope you guys are getting it. So that is the thing. So microorganisms and us. So how microorganisms impact us? They impact us in two ways. Either they would be benefiting us or either they would be harming us. So let's understand what are the harms that are they causing and what are the good uses of the microorganisms. So microorganisms can be harmful in many ways. For example, some of the microorganisms causes disease in human beings, and it causes disease in animals and in plants also. And in plants also. While some of them are useful for us. Like here you can see You use microorganisms for a variety of purposes, like for preparation of curd, bread, and cake, for production of alcohol, wine, or acetic acid, you would be using it for preparation of medicines and vaccines. They clean up the environment. They increases the soil fertility. So these are the uses of microorganisms. What are the harmful effects of microorganisms? They are known to cause disease in plants, disease in animals, and in particular in human beings. They are known to spoil the food. They lead to condition called as food poisoning. So later in the chapter, you would be studying about how do we preserve food. In order to prevent the food from contamination from the microorganisms, we preserve them in various methods. So we'll be understanding about that also in later part of the class. So let's understand about some of the beneficial uses. Like while discussing about different groups of microorganisms, we have discussed about each of them individually, like what are the good uses of that microorganism and what are the harm caused by them. Individually also we have studied that. Like we did talk, while we were discussing about bacteria, we did saw that bacteria can be used in numerous ways. Like it is used mm, for preparation of curd. It is used in the preparation of antibiotics, while it causes some diseases also. So let's start by talking about the bacteria. See, you all know about a bacterium called as lactobacillus that multiplies in milk and converts it into curd. So when you add a small amount of this in water, in the milk, what happens? Thereby, it starts to multiply. It will start to multiply, and thereby, it converts the milk into curd. So that is one of the use. Another use of microorganism is there. You have got an yeast. And yeast is a fungi, or is it a bacteria, or was it? What is it? This yeast is what? Yes, Gauri, Sundus, Shakrika, Khadija. Yeast is a fungi or a bacteria? Hello.
So is it
It's a fungi.
It's a fungi, no? Right? So using this yeast powder, we convert the edible sugars. Like edible sugars are converted into alcohol. The process by which it is doing so, that is process is called as fermentation. Who discovered this process? It was discovered by Louis Pasteur in the year 1857. So that is another use of a microorganisms. In particular, that is the use of a fungi, that is yeast. So here you can look at, in the absence of oxygen, yeast is able to convert sugar into alcohol and carbon dioxide. So that in short is the process of fermentation right now. So this is what fermentation is. If questions is asked in the exam, what is fermentation? You'd say that it is the process by which the yeast converts sugar into alcohol. So at an industrial scale, this yeast is being used. Apart from preparation of alcohol, yeast is also used in the baking industry. Yeast is also being used in the baking industry. Like you have wheat, for example, or simply you have no. See that you have flour. So you add some yeast to flour. You add some water also in it. You'd be adding some water in it also. So thereby you would see that the volume of the flour will start to increase. Flour, basically when you add water to it, becomes dough. So you would observe that the volume of the dough, it starts to increase, isn't it? Have you guys ever used yeast powder in the kitchen? Yes. Whenever a small amount of yeast will be added to the dough now, so thereby its volume starts to increase. Why it is happening? Because the yeast will be basically it will be feeding upon the dough. It starts to feed on the dough. Apart from doing that, It will be doing respiration also. You all know what is respiration. Whenever we eat food, that food inside our body, that food is broken down with the help of oxygen, and carbon dioxide gas is released. So this yeast will also be releasing carbon dioxide gas. What does it releases? Carbon dioxide gas.
Carbon dioxide.
Right? So this carbon dioxide gas gets filled in this dough, and thereby it starts to inflate. Its volume starts to increase. So thereby increased volume. So that's why the bread that you eat or the dough, here the dough will become fluffy because of air molecules of carbon dioxide filled inside it. Is that clear to everyone? So yeast is used in the baking industry also. So that is another use of it. Then let's talk about what are the diseases that are caused by them in the case of human, for example. Like what are some disease causing microorganisms in humans? We have already discussed about so many of them. Like we had a disease like tuberculosis was there, cholera we talked about. We have chicken pox or common cold or malaria or AIDS. These are some of the diseases. Now see, the diseases that are caused by the microorganisms in humans, they can be categorized into two categories. Those diseases which can spread from one infected person to another person, they are called as communicable disease. Getting at what I'm trying to say? So what are some of the common examples of communicable disease? You have uh, diseases, as I said moments ago, like you have common cold, you have chicken pox, you have cholera, you have tuberculosis, you have malaria, AIDS. These are the diseases which are spread from an infected person to a healthy person. So diseases can be classified into two types: communicable and then non-communicable disease. So disease causing microorganisms, it can be transmitted by direct contact with an infected person, or it can be carried through an insect or through an animal, or it can be transmitted through consuming the contaminated food or water also, right now. So thereby different type of microorganisms which we have, like bacteria, virus, protozoa, or fungi, they are called as disease carrier right now. And those type of microorganisms that are known to cause disease, they are called as pathogens. Forget about that part where I told they are the disease carriers. They're not the disease carriers. Disease carriers will be like a house fly or a mosquito. Those are the disease carriers. What I meant to say that those type of microorganisms that spreads disease, that causes disease, they are called as pathogens. So what are some common pathogens? Like moments ago we did talked about, like Salmonella typhi, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, like Plasmodium. Getting it, guys? Like Vibrio cholerae. These are those microorganisms that causes disease. So thereby they are called as pathogens. So pathogens will be those kind of bacteria or viruses or protozoa or fungi, algae that will be causing disease. Not all of them, right now. So a person who has a disease causing microorganism in his body, he would be said to be an infected person. So the person, if if the pathogens are found to be living inside the body of this person, so thereby this person will be called as an infected person. Okay. And thereby these persons these persons can transmit the disease to a healthy person also. Like if they come in physical contact with with another person, or if they were to sneeze, hmm, like if they were to sneeze in the air, like you'd have observed that, like in your classroom, if a boy or girl is suffering from cough, from common cold, so and if the person continues to sneeze in the room without keeping something to cover the nose, so most probably many other students will also be getting infected with common cold. It's a common thing, you might have experienced this, isn't it? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So those microbial diseases which can be spread from this infected person to a healthy person through air, like it can be transmitted through air, it can be transmitted through water, or it can be transmitted through the food, or it could be through physical contact also to a healthy person, and thereby will make the healthy person also sick. So that is the thing. Now, there are some diseases which can be transmitted from one person to another, while some of the diseases cannot be transmitted from one person to another. So those diseases will be called as, what do we call them as? Non-communicable disease. So what are some of the examples of non-communicable diseases? Yeah. Like for example, if someone is suffering from type 1, from diabetes, like type 1 diabetes or type 2 diabetes, try to understand, diabetes is a disease. Can it be transferred from one person to another? No. Try to understand this. For example, if someone is suffering from asthma, that is a disease. Can it be transmitted from one person to another? Answer this.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No. So those are the non-communicable disease which we have. Apart from that, you have kidney disease also. Hmm? Heart diseases are there. Cancer is there. Cancer is a non-communicable disease. Or for
So,
example, Parkinson's
cancer.
disease. Yes.
So, but it is said that some cancer diseases are communicable.
Some cancers are communicable.
Yes, sir. I mean, I've
See,
heard it, but I'm not sure if it's true.
cancer is not a communicable disease. It is not said to be a contagious disease. There is nothing that will cause a cancer to be passed from one person to another, except for very rare situations. Hmm?
So, but can it be passed on as genes, like genetics?
As genes, as genes, there has been a study done on this. Like some genes can lead to certain kind of cancers, but usually it is observed that one does not inherit cancer genes. One does not inherit cancer.
Okay, sir.
Okay, no? Like
Yes.
one is inheriting the genes, but one is not inheriting the cancer their from their parents or from the grandparents, like that. So that is the thing. So right now we are only talking about the communicable disease that are caused by the pathogens. Pathogens are the disease causing microorganisms. Keep that in mind. Okay, now. So hope that much is clear. And in what ways they can be spread from one person, from infected person to healthy person? Like suppose someone is sneezing and you are breathing that air contains the microorganisms that will cause common cold. For example, common cold is like caused by a virus now, right? So for example, if there's a person that is sneezing in the air, so that person while sneezing will release lots of tiny air droplets. Right now they release lots of tiny air droplets that will be, sorry, not air droplets, it is water droplets that will be consisting of lots of microorganisms. Particularly if the person is suffering from common cold, so in his sneeze it will be contaminated with the virus that will cause common cold. If another person were to inhale it, so thereby the person will also be infected. Another way is that if someone were to consume the contaminated food, like if this person has eaten some food which is contaminated, if this person were to eat this food that has earlier been eaten by this food, for example, or has been touched by this person. So thereby the person would again become sick. Or it can be due to physical contact also, like if you were to use the articles or objects used by this person, the person would again be infected, like now. So that is the thing, that is how it spreads. Then question comes, how do we prevent it? How do we prevent the communicable diseases? That is another thing. So let's understand that thing also. How do you prevent that? So prevention of communicable disease. You guys tell me, what are the ways in which you can prevent yourself from catching the communicable disease? Like if a person is suffering from common cold, they should always cover their mouth with a handkerchief while sneezing. Wear a mask. Good. Wear a mask. Cover the mouth while sneezing by using a handkerchief. Or we should keep our food covered from getting it infected by flies right now. So cover food to protect from infection by flies, like the house flies, Musca domestica, that is house flies. We should always drink clean and safe water. We should protect ourselves from mosquito bites. Like you can use a different kind of ointments are available in the market. So you can apply that on your skin and protect yourself from mosquito bites. Or you can use mosquito nets right now. So prevent mosquito bites. Mosquitoes are responsible for spreading different kind of diseases. What are some of the diseases? Do tell me. What are the disease spread by mosquito? Yes. Base malaria, very good. They spread. What do they spread? Dengue. They spread dengue also. Okay, now they spread dengue also. There's one more. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, like this chikungunya also. Have you heard of this chikungunya? Chikungunya. That is also spread by mosquito. So these are some of the disease that is spread by mosquito. So prevent yourself from the mosquito bites. Another thing is that, like if some, let's say that syringes are used for this person, like this person, for this person, syringes are used to give him injection. So that syringe should not be shared with anyone else. In that manner, the disease will be transmitted from this person to another person. So avoid usage of syringes, or simply disposable syringes should be used. Avoid sharing of syringes. A better way is to simply use disposable syringes. In fact, nowadays disposable syringes are used right now. If you went back like 10 or 15 years ago, thereby disposable syringes were not in use back then. Getting it what I'm trying to say? Back then, disposable syringes were not available. Like they would be having a syringe in which the body would be made up of metal, and once they have used this, they would be cleaning this in an antiseptic solution or in boiled water. So one should be using disposable syringes. Guys, is there some background noise from my side?
No, sir.
Okay. Again, we should prevent physical contact with an infected person. Right now, like do not use the objects that is used by them. Do not use their towels or clothes. So that is the thing. Again, the person who himself or herself is suffering from an infection should make sure that they keep themselves clean and keep their belongings separate. Keep their belongings separate right now. Then you have some of the diseases that can be prevented by vaccination at proper time. Okay, no? So some diseases can be prevented by vaccination at proper time. So that is another thing. Like you guys might also have received different kind of vaccination. So some disease can be prevented by vaccination. Like what are some of the common examples? Yes, there are different type of vaccines given, like polio vaccines were given, COVID vaccine was given, isn't it? So isn't coronavirus also a communicable virus? COVID is also a communicable disease, isn't that? So we have got vaccines for such type of disease. Then you have vaccines for diseases like polio virus. Polio, for polio also you have got a vaccine. So that is the thing. Hope you guys are getting it. Is there any question from this part?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Then do tell me what are the common carriers of communicable disease?
Sir,
They are
air,
two most common.
water, food, and wind.
See,
Houseflies.
see this one which I have said here. Now this is the different ways in which it can be transmitted from one person to another. This is the mode. This, let me write it over. These are the modes of transmission. Modes of transmission. It can be through air, water, food, or physical contact. Good. But right now we are talking about the carriers. So carriers means we are talking about, like here right now we are talking about living organisms. Getting it now? So there are some insects, or there could be some other animals also which could be transmitting the disease causing microorganisms to humans without itself suffering from them. Keep that in mind. They themselves will not be suffering from disease. They are just transmitting the disease causing microorganisms from this infected person to this healthy person. Like you have housefly or mosquito. Do they become sick by carrying that microorganism? Do they themselves become sick? No. So the insects, or there could be some other animals also which transmits the disease causing microorganism, like it could be bacteria, virus, fungi, protozoa, algae, anyone. So those insects or animals which would be transmitting the disease from an infected person, what disease, like what they do transmit, they are basically transmitting the different kind of pathogens from an infected person to a healthy person without themselves suffering from it. So we have so many common examples of the carriers. Like you guys tell me, what examples are there? Two most common carriers.
Houseflies.
Very good. Housefly. Then what do we have? You guys forgot about mosquito. Mosquito is responsible for spreading a number of diseases right now. So you guys see that usually the house flies, where do they sit? They would be sitting upon a heap of garbage. They would be sitting upon animal poop or human poop, and they would be sitting on the food also. If the food is uncovered, they would be sitting there also. So they, in that manner, they would be transmitting a lots of disease. So if you were to talk about this house fly, what are the disease that this house fly spreads? So for example, houseflies are the most common carrier of different type of pathogens that causes diseases like cholera. Getting it, guys? Cholera, or you have tuberculosis, or you have typhoid, or you have diarrhea also.
So do ants carry any diseases?
Ants? No, I don't believe that ants acts as a active carrier of disease. Okay, no? I don't think that ants are active carriers of disease.
Okay.
Getting it now? So that is the thing. So keep this fact in mind that generally house flies are known to spread these communicable disease. Then talking about what are the common examples of the communicable diseases which we have, which can uh, transmit from an infected person to a healthy person. Yes. What are the communicable diseases, guys, which can spread from an infected person to a healthy person? As of now, we have taken several names. Yes, Sundus,
The
Khadija, Chakrika,
smallpox,
Gauri. Smallpox.
cold,
Tuberculosis.
Which one? Coronavirus.
Sir, I said tuberculosis.
Tuberculosis. Okay. Yes, that is also there. So tuberculosis is also there. And then what about common
so
cold?
malaria,
Malaria. Good.
Also cholera.
Cholera. Very good.
Hepatitis.
Hepatitis. Hepatitis, I don't think so. Hepatitis, maybe not. Okay, I don't think that hepatitis is a communicable disease.
So what about chickenpox?
Yeah, chickenpox is there. Chickenpox is there. And then, see, in hepatitis A, in hepatitis also you have different types of hepatitis. Okay, na? Yeah, there are different types of hepatitis. Like hepatitis A is there, hepatitis B is there. If you were to talk about type A, then type A can be spread from one person to another. So to be specific, hepatitis A is a communicable. In general, I can't say about like hepatitis is a contagious, it's communicable. But talking about hepatitis A, it is very contagious. Okay, no? So that is the thing. Okay. What are some other examples which we have? Like you have uh, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, like AIDS also. It's a sexually transmitted disease. Okay, now. Okay, so that is the thing. Guys, I will be back in just 1 minute. Give me a minute, okay, now. Yeah, sorry about the interruption. Actually, some work was going on. Yeah. So these are some of the communicable diseases that are spread by the pathogens. Hope you guys will be remembering that. Okay. Then there are some disease that are spread by mosquitoes also. Quickly tell me. Moments ago, we have discussed that.
So malaria.
Malaria. Then, okay, malaria is spread by which pathogen? What is the name of that pathogen? Guys, quickly. Is it a bacteria or is it a protozoa? Yes, Sundus?
Protozoa.
That is protozoa. What is the name of protozoa, Gauri?
sir, it's a female.
No,
So
I'm not talking about carrier. I'm talking about a pathogen. Carrier is the mosquito. Female Anopheles is the carrier of malaria. Malaria.
Plasmodium.
Plasmodium. Very good. Okay, na? Okay. Where would
yes,
you
sir.
find that mosquitoes would be breeding? Mosquitoes, where do they breed?
By blood.
Mm-hmm.
By
Like they,
blood.
Repeat again.
They use your blood to bleed.
No, I'm talking about breeding. Like they breed in stagnant water, no, like in dirty ponds or dirty drain or in ditches or in shallow lakes. That's what I mean. So they would be laying their eggs there. They would be laying their eggs in stagnant water. That is the thing. So whenever a female Anopheles mosquito would be biting a person and that person is suffering from the malaria, so thereby what happens? While sucking the blood of that person, you know that the blood of that person consists of the plasmodium, which is a malarial parasite, also called as malarial parasite. So while sucking the blood, the malarial parasite, that is plasmodium, goes inside the body of the mosquito. And when this mosquito will be sitting on another person, when it will be biting a healthy person to suck their blood, thereby it will be transferring the malarial parasite microbes into the blood stream of that person. So that is the thing. Again, note that one more thing, that if I were to talk about the dengue virus, we did talked about this one also, like mosquitoes spread dengue also. So we know that malaria is caused by a plasmodium, that is a protozoa. What about the dengue virus? Dengue virus is carried by which kind of mosquito? Do tell me this thing. That will again be a male or a female mosquito. First of all, answer this one.
It will be a female.
It will be a female mosquito. Very good. And the name of that mosquito is? Yes, Santosh? Female Aedes mosquito. Okay, no? That is the name of mosquito which spreads the dengue virus. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how can you prevent the disease that is spread by mosquito? Simply what you will be doing? You know that all the mosquitoes breed in water. So thereby the stagnant water in your houses, you should drain them. Right now, if you were to, if you keep stagnant water, so thereby mosquitoes will be breeding on them. Another thing is that keep your surroundings clean and dry, right? Then another thing what you can do, for example, in the drain, you can spread different kind of chemicals in the open drain, or you can put some oil on the drain, in the drain. Like oil will float above the water, so thereby mosquitoes won't be able to lay their eggs in that water. So you can pour oil like kerosene oil in the water. Getting it done. In what kind of water? I'm talking about the drain water. So there you can put put that. Or even if let's say that mosquitoes have laid their larva, laid their eggs, and that egg has now converted into larva, like, so thereby the oil will kill the larva of mosquitoes. Or you can use mosquito repellents. Mosquito repellent cream can be used. So that is another thing. Okay. Now I'm going to ask few questions to you guys, or let us quickly summarize this one. Let us finish this one as well. Just 1 minute. See, here you have now examples of the common disease that are caused in humans and what type of pathogens are responsible for causing them. For example, all this disease that you see in the first row, like dysentery or plague or diphtheria or cholera or typhoid or pneumonia, all of them are bacterial disease. Okay. Then disease like common cold or mumps or measles, or viral hepatitis or dengue fever, chikungunya, chicken pox, or poliomyelitis. Simply just keep this as polio. All of them are caused by a virus. Then you have diseases like athlete's foot. Did you guys remember this one? Like athlete's foot, we discussed about this one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. right now. So this one is caused by a fungus.
Ringworm was also.
Which one? Ringworm. Ringworm. Very good, Sundas. Ringworm was also caused by a fungus. Then you have diseases like this malaria. We did talked about plasmodium. So plasmodium is a protozoa. So apart from malaria, there are some other diseases also. Like, didn't we talked about African sleeping sickness? And we did talked about amoebiasis also. In the previous class, recall about this one, we have discussed about this. Okay. So these are the common examples of proto disease caused by protozoa. Then what a helminthic disease? See, helminthic disease are simply not that kind of disease. Like in the intestine of humans, some kind of worms would be growing. Like a round worm is there, tapeworm is there. Tapeworms can grow up to several feet long. Like recently, I read a news that a man pulled out 5 feet tapeworm from his intestine. A man pulled a tapeworm of length 5 feet. Just imagine this. Tapeworm. The length was 5 feet. So there are different kind of worms that can grow in the intestines, and they are caused by the names of worms are as follows: Ascariasis or filariasis. Although this one is not important, but just these are some extra things.
Sir, how do they get out of our body?
How do they get
Out of our body?
out of our body? See, if
Like,
they
is
are
it
of
some surgery?
see if they are size small, so via the excreta, via the waste, it will be excreted from the body if their size is small. But if they grow lengthy, if they grow to several centimeter or several feet in length, so thereby it is kind of hard to remove them, get rid of them via the waste. So thereby surgery has to be done. So via the surgery, they would be making a small cut. They would make a small incision on wherever they are found, whether it be in small intestine or large intestine. Particularly, these kind of worms are found to be living in the large intestine. So they would make a small cut and they would take out all the worms. Right now, so you would find that there have been so many surgeries. In fact, I have seen the surgery videos. Thereby, I saw that the surgeon would be removing dozens of worms from the intestine, not just one or two, so many dozens of worms. Getting it, guys? So these are some of the common human disease along with the uh, pathogens that cause them.
Sir,
Yes.
do they reproduce in our intestine?
What I was saying moments ago.
No, sir, this one. The tapeworms, do they reproduce in our intestine?
No. See, they get in our body now. Like for example, there are eggs of tapeworm in contaminated water. So if you were to someone were to consume the contaminated water, so why the consumption of contaminated water or contaminated food, they get in our body, and once they go to the intestine, there they start to grow. So it's a parasite that is found inside our body, and it obtains nutrition from our body, and it starts to grow.
So it cannot reproduce in our body.
They can reproduce inside our body. Yes, they can reproduce. Like
Okay.
like just if they were to be one egg of ascariasis, if the person has consumed a contaminated water, and this consists of just one egg of ascariasis, so once they goes inside the body, it will start to reproduce. It will lay eggs again, and it will start to
Yes.
reproduce. So that is the thing. Okay, you guys tell me, tuberculosis is caused by a bacteria. Okay, from an infected person to a healthy person, what is the mode of transmission? Is it through air or is it through water?
So can you repeat?
Talking about tuberculosis, it will be transmitted from an infected person to a healthy person Via air or via water? Yes, answer this one. Let me repeat my question. Guys, we have discussed about different modes of transmission of disease. Like we did talked about, disease can be transmitted via air, it can be transmitted via water, via food, via physical contact. These are the different modes. Or it can be transmitted via the carriers also, like mosquitoes or houseflies. So do tell me about this thing, that talking about the tuberculosis. So tuberculosis is spread from an infected person to a healthy person via the air. Keep that in mind. That's why it is advised that do not go near to a person who is suffering from tuberculosis. Getting it, guys, or not?
Yes, sir.
So you would find that a person who is suffering from tuberculosis, they would be kept in complete isolation. Okay, they are kept in complete isolation. That is one thing. Another thing you tell me about, like about this polio virus. Polio virus will be spread via air and water. What is the way to prevent polio? You would be taking vaccine at proper time. So vaccination at proper age is required in order to prevent the spread of this virus. Hope you guys are getting it. Okay now.
Yes, sir.
So here you have human disease. Then you have the causative microorganism, causative microbe. Here you have mode of transmission, and then you have what are the preventive measures you would be taking. Okay. Again, we did talk about tuberculosis. The causative microbe is a bacteria, a virus, or fungi. What is it? Mycobacterium, mycobacterium tuberculosis. That was a bacteria, na guys. What I'm writing on the screen, is it visible properly to everyone or not?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Visible? Okay.
Yeah,
So it is.
I have to go actually. Sorry, sir.
Okay. No issues. Others continue for 5 another minutes. Okay now?
So should I leave?
Yes, Sund. Okay, Sundus.
Thanks.
Tuberculosis. Okay. Bye. Tuberculosis is caused by a bacteria. Mode of transmission is air. How you would be? What are the preventive measures? The person should be kept in isolation. The person should be kept in isolation, or the personal belongings of that person should be kept away from others. Getting it, guys, or not? So that is one thing.
Yes, sir.
Then talking about measles. What are measles? Have you guys heard of this measles before?
No, sir.
Not heard of measles. See, so talking about measles, it usually infects the different part of the body. For example, I might have shown an image of measles. For example, you'd find that red patches would develop on the skin. Usually affects the face and it starts to spread all over the body. So although it might not be very itchy, but it is usually red in color, and it might last from 4 to 6 days on the body. So measles are basically rashes that develops on the skin, generally develops on the head and then spreads to rest part of the body. Getting it, guys, or not? So measles is caused by a virus. Measles is a disease that is spread by virus. Keep that in mind. And then talking about how it will be spread, what is the mode of transmission? So it will be transmitted via air. What are the ways to take to prevent yourself? Again, see, preventive measures now in all these disease which I'm going to discuss about, in all of them, preventive measures are going to be almost same. It would be either to keep the person in isolation, keep their personal belongings away. Another thing, what you would be doing, that you would be providing them with vaccination. Vaccination will be done only for those that will be that are caused due to a virus. Keep that thing in mind. Okay. Then you have another human disease, like you have chicken pox. So chicken pox will again be spread by virus. So that is the causative microorganisms. And how does it spread? What is the mode of transmission? Via air or via coming in contact with a person who is suffering from chickenpox. So you might have seen, if a boy or girl in your school suffer from this chickenpox, so school will advise him to take a leave for a month, for almost a month. Because if another children were to come in contact with this boy who is suffering from the chickenpox, they will also be getting infected. Then talking about polio. Polio is again caused by virus, and the mode of spreading of polio is air or water. So it can spread through contaminated air and water. So that is the thing. Then talking about some other human diseases. For example, you have cholera, you have typhoid, cholera or typhoid. These diseases are caused by bacteria. Both of them are caused by bacteria. What is the mode of transmission? For cholera, it is usually water or contaminated food. And typhoid is a waterborne disease, meaning that it spreads through consumption of contaminated water. So that is water. How one would be preventing themselves from cholera or typhoid? One should maintain their personal hygiene. They should have a good sanitary habits. They should eat properly cooked food. The food that is properly cooked. They should get vaccination should again be done at proper time. Drinking clean and drinking boiled water. Here, not vaccination, but antibiotics should be taken at proper time. Getting it, guys, or not? Then you have diseases like malaria. So malaria is caused by a, yes. What is the causative microorganism for malaria? Fungi,
Protozoa.
bacteria, protozoa. And it spreads through
Mosquitoes.
mosquito bites, right now. Then you have dengue. Thereby dengue is caused by a virus now. Again, it spreads via mosquito, right? What are the preventive measures? Like both of them are caused by mosquitoes. So thereby one should not allow water to collect in your surrounding or prevent the breeding of mosquitoes right now. Or you should put a fine wire mesh at the windows. The windows or the doors should be covered with a wire mesh, so that you would stop the entering of mosquitoes in your house. You should be using mosquito nets, or you should be using mosquito repellent. So that was about the disease caused by microorganisms in humans. Later on, we are still left with three major topics in the chapter. What are the diseases caused by microorganisms in humans? Like microorganisms infects the cattle also. They infect cattle. Getting it, guys? They infect cattle also. So we'd be studying about that thing. It can infect the poultry birds also, like chickens, like the hens. They also are prone to different kind of microbial diseases. There are some diseases that are they are some kind of pathogens that spreads disease, that causes disease in plants also. Like you have example of bhindi, like that is okra. Or like you have wheat. Wheat is also infected by a fungus. Getting it now? So we'd be studying about that thing, and we'd be studying about what is food poisoning and what are the different ways to preserve the food. So those two topics are left, and we'll be talking about this one more thing, that is nitrogen cycle. Then we'll be ending the chapter in the next class. And the class that we'll be having now, it might be a little bit long. Like it might again extend to 5 to 10 minutes. Because in next class, I'm thinking to cover the